the story plays a very important role in the game. And there is a lot of story. We have 60 hours of dialogues and 3.5 hours of cutscenes played by more than 50 actors. It's not just the writing that's important, but also the execution. So today we are going to talk about how we brought the story into life.
Because it's not just a 90-page script that has a beginning, middle and end, but it's a whole world that can have any number of certainly middles and ends and even beginnings, all of which are in the hands of the player. Games like this and films and TV shows and plays all kind of start and end with a brilliant story and a brilliant script. And if you don't have those, it's kind of a waste of everybody's time, whatever the media is. And I think in this instance, fortunately, one of the reasons I want to do it is because I think the script is really good and the characters are brilliant, and Henry particularly is a character that I feel very passionate about. And I think that's mostly because of the passion for this world and these characters in the heads of the creators. That they know the world inside out, they know the history of certainly the Czech Republic and Prague specifically much better than I do, clearly. And they have a real fire in their belly for those characters in that world. It's a very human, three-dimensional, credible story. And that's what got me excited about it.
You know, what you see is an incredible story that is made even more incredible by virtue of the fact that it happened. For the most part, as you said, there's some characters that have been kind of created to drive the story along. But the background of it is all true.
Right. Let's see what kind of job the master in Sasau did for us. Look at that, lad. That's what I call craftsmanship.
What does the inscription mean?
Damned if I know. Doesn't look like Czech to me. Latin, maybe? Lord Radzig ordered it. Oh, this will be the finest sword I've ever made.
This is one of the cutscenes for the game, and you can see that in order to make them great, we needed good actors. Lots of them. There are lots of big Hollywood productions shooting in Prague, so there are also lots of good English-speaking actors. But that was still not enough for us. So we did casting in both Prague and London, and we auditioned more than 200 people.
Charcoal you can get most likely at the charcoal burners. There's an old kiln by the creek above the village.
Don't even talk to me about it. He's all done in. I never saw so much blood come out of anyone's anus before.
We needed to make a lot of tough decisions. Will we go with archaic Shakespeare English, more accessible modern English, or American English? Each choice limited our choice of actors. And is it okay to have American and UK actors play together with different regional accents in the same medieval setting?
I'm from the valleys. Originally, though, mind, I was stuck out in Cardiff for a while. My mother brought me up there, but my father's from the valleys originally, so I moved back to Aberystwyth.
After weeks of searching, we finally found what we were looking for in Tom, Luke, Matthew, Brian, Peter, and some 50 others. Capturing so many cutscenes required a huge amount of time, so we decided it would be more efficient and cost-effective to build our own mocap studio and do all the cutscenes in-house here in Prague. We also decided to capture sound and motion at the same time, because we believe that this way the performance will be much more natural and dynamic than first shooting the movement and then having different actors record the voiceovers later in the studio.
That here was something new. You're doing something new. And it was history. It's based on history. And it's exciting and educational. I think you've got something new and original. The thing is, the script is brilliant. It's well written. And it is written in English in rather a classical style because of history. History always has a smattering of historical kind of flow and energy.
We also considered using facial motion capture helmets, but then decided not to because it would greatly complicate the process with questionable results. We also decided to scan all the actors and use their facial features for the game characters, and for that, our character department built our own proprietary 3D scanner. And we don't scan only the actor features, but also their facial expressions. Each actor is scanned 24 times, and from these scans we can generate 60 different expressions that we use then when generating lip sync and for facial animation. Directing a game is a very specific thing. The actors are moving around in very small empty space in which objects are only represented by weird wire constructions because the cameras need to see through everything. The actors can't touch each other too much either, because motion capture doesn't much like things like wrestling or hugging, not to mention sex scenes, simply anything where the cameras don't have a clear view on the actor from every angle. Each shooting day we first rehearsed the scenes, then there were quite long preparations because the motion capture must be calibrated, the actors dressed in the suits, and the set prepared. And then we were shooting 6 hours a day for more than a month. We shot 5 to 10 minutes a day, which is a pretty diabolical pace.
Having Dan in the room has been great. It's been great. Because there's that feeling as actors that you're doing the scenes. He knows what he wants. He knows what these characters are, what the stories are. He has an ownership of all that. So for him to be giving you the direction, or helping out giving the directions, has been invaluable, really.
In the end, there were 3 directors. I took care of performance. Our cinematic director, Martin Kleckner, was responsible for the movement and stunts. And our English writer, John Comer, himself an experienced actor, was shadowing me on to make sure that the lines were correct in English.
We've got a very reliable team who know the world infinitely better than we ever could because they've been working on it for 3 years. And they will brief you. We'll have a briefing in the morning. They'll describe, what's going on in the scene, what the context is, what the environment looks like. And I've just relied incredibly heavily on them.
Will the actors with the experience from big movies and TV shows accept recording in funny elastic suits with ridiculous props made from wires and sticks under the supervision of a geek with little experience? Luckily, they did, and I think that in the end it went pretty well.
And at the end of the day, once you've got the hilarious, lycra bodysuits and the spots all over you and all that stuff, which of course in the first instance are kind of hilarious and ridiculous, but you very quickly forget those. And at the end of the day, then it's just about playing a scene honestly with another actor.
And then you go into the other room and you get into your... This is the best bit. You get into your is it spandex? I don't know. Whatever it is. It's a black suit. And then they put all these little dots on you. And it's very strange. But I feel like it's like you're going into the Matrix. I feel like Neo. And all I do, whenever there's downtime and no one's doing anything important, I'm just there looking at myself on the screen, just like pretending to be Neo. It's great.
The task of the cinematic department was to bring what was written in the script into the game in the form of cutscenes. And since we were shooting on an empty motion capture stage, every day we had to make sure the actors knew exactly what they were looking at. For example, when Henry was supposed to be lying in bed while some other character woke him up, started talking to him and then left the room, I had to measure the size of the actual room in the game, indicate its size on the motion capture stage, find out the height and position of the bed, position of the door, simply put, recreate the room on the mocap, and then explain that to the actors who needed to know where they should walk, look, or what they could touch. Unfortunately, a lot of times the game environments were too big to fit into our motion capture, or the props were too complicated to make by just stacking up metal platforms. That's when we needed to improvise. When we had the actors' performances, we took the data, put it into our computers and started assembling the whole scene, create cameras and the overall edit, while the animations were being polished. In the end, it was all about how to best balance the technical side of the process and Dan Wawra's idea about how the actors' performances should look, plus how to narrate the epic story in our very limited conditions.
We don't have only cutscenes, there are also in-game dialogues and barks. Altogether, there are almost 60 hours of voiceovers in the game, and the majority of that is short barks like greetings, NPC chit-chat or shouts for the combat and crime system.
Yeah, shoot him! Shoot the fucker!
He's been shot already.
And we need to record all those with each actor because every NPC can say any of those lines. That means recording the same 2000 lines 50 times over and over again. Each session took at least 4 hours, but we need to pay the same attention to those dialogues as we did to the cutscenes, because the player will hear them repeatedly and we didn't want it to, take an arrow to the knee.
No, not this way! Jesus! Oh, I'm finished! Serves me right for not paying attention.
Recording dialogue for the quest is more fun, but it's still a tough job. Currently we are recording simultaneously in 2 studios for weeks, and all our designers are taking shifts in the director's chair so as not to go mad. because recording grunts, groans, panting, and wheezing in combat for days on end can soon kind of make you go nuts. So as you can see, we took great care to bring the story to life. I believe that despite all the challenges, the end result is worth it, and we have an awesome cast that has made the story shine.
That's what attracted me. I think you're doing something new. And I like to be there when people are creating something new. It's an adventure. I see everything as Mount Everest, and I see this project as Mount Everest.